My dear brothers and sisters, I stand before you today not to tell you something new, but to remind you of something your soul already knows. You are being shaped, molded, prepared. And oh, it may not always feel like a blessing, it may feel like breaking. But let me tell you, even the diamond must endure the pressure before it shines. Right now, in the stillness of your struggle, God is working. In the quiet of your waiting, God is moving. In the moments when you feel forgotten, He is carving you into something magnificent. You may not see it yet, but oh, you will. Because when God lays His hands upon you, He does not leave you the same. So tonight, I want to tell you about 5 undeniable, unshakable, unstoppable signs that God is shaping you. 5 whispers from heaven, 5 fingerprints of the divine upon your life. Open your heart, open your spirit, and listen, because your transformation has already begun. My dear ones, if you ever find yourself standing in the middle of uncertainty, if the ground beneath your feet no longer feels familiar, if the life you once knew is slipping through your fingers like grains of sand, do not be afraid. Do not weep too long over what is leaving. Do not curse the shifting winds that blow through your life. Because, my dear, you are not being abandoned, you are being transformed. Growth, real growth, does not come wrapped in silk and tied with ribbon. No, it comes dressed in discomfort. It comes like a storm at midnight, rattling the very foundation of your being. It does not knock politely at your door, it breaks it down. It does not ask for permission, it demands surrender. Because the truth, the raw, undeniable truth, is that nothing great is ever birthed in comfort. A seed must be buried in the darkness before it reaches for the light. A caterpillar must endure the stillness of the cocoon before it spreads its wings. And you, my beloved, must walk through the valley before you can rise to the mountaintop. Oh, I know it is not easy. I know the weight of the unclean pressed heavy against your spirit. You might say, why must I go through this? Why is my path so uncertain? But let me tell you, when God is shaping you, He will shake you loose from the things that no longer serve your destiny. He will remove the crutches you leaned on for too long. He will close the doors you were never meant to walk through. And yes, sometimes He will even strip you of the people, places, and plans you thought you could not live without. Because God is not in the business of comfort, He is in the business of calling. You may feel like you are losing, but oh my dear, you are gaining wisdom. You are gaining strength. You are gaining a version of yourself that is more powerful than the one you are leaving behind. Do not resist the shaping. Do not fight the pressing. It may not feel like a blessing now, but one day you will look back and you will see God was not punishing you, He was preparing you. So if your life feels uncertain, if the path ahead looks unfamiliar, if you feel like you are being broken, take heart. You are not breaking, you are becoming. Let the discomfort do its work. Let the storm cleanse what must go. Let the shaping continue. Because what God is making out of you is far greater than what you ever imagined. And when the shaping is done, when the discomfort has passed, when the storm has quieted, He will rise. And my dear, when you rise, you will not just walk, you will soar. My dear ones, there comes a time in every life when the door you so desperately wanted to walk through slams shut. The opportunity you prayed for slips through your fingers. The love you thought would last forever suddenly disappears like a whisper in the wind. And you stand there staring at the closed door, your hands pressed against its surface, knocking, pleading, begging for it to open again. But it does not. It will not. And oh, how the heart aches. How the spirit bends beneath the weight of rejection, of loss, of the bitter taste of what could have been. You ask yourself, why would God bring me this far only to leave me standing in front of a locked door? You wonder if you did something wrong, if you were not worthy enough, if somehow, somewhere you missed the turn that would have led you to your blessing. But my dear, let me tell you, when God closes a door, it is not rejection. It is redirection. It is His way of saying, no, my child, not this way. I have something better. I have something greater. But oh, we are stubborn now. We want what we want. And we want it now. We clutch onto people who are only meant to walk with us for a season. We hold on to jobs that have already served their purpose. We stay in places where the light has long since faded, hoping that if we just try a little bit, push a little more, things will change. But some doors were never meant to stay open. Some places were never meant to be your final destination. Some people were never meant to walk the whole journey with you. And when God in His infinite wisdom sees that we are holding on to something that no longer serves our purpose, He will close the door. and he will close it tightly. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're saying, but what if I need that door? What if my blessing was behind that very door? My dear, let me tell you, God does not close doors to keep you from your blessing. He closes them to lead you to it. You see, what we think is the best for us is often far too small for the vision God has in mind. We dream in fragments, in tiny pieces of what we think we need, while God sees the whole picture. He sees what lies beyond, what is waiting for you, if only you would let go of what is no longer yours. Oh, I know it is hard. I know the pain of watching something slip away when your heart still longs for it. But hear me, my dear, every closed door is an answered prayer in disguise. Every time you are turned away, every time a path you thought was yours suddenly vanishes, it is not because you are forgotten. It is because you are being guided. You are being protected. You are being positioned for something far greater than you could ever imagine. So do not stand at the door that has closed, weeping for what was. Do not waste your days trying to pry it open with your own hands. Trust. Trust that if God saw fit to close it, then He has already prepared another way. Trust that what is meant for you will never require you to beg for it, to chase after it, to diminish yourself just to keep it. Trust that when one door closes, another greater, wider, more beautiful than you ever dreamed will open. And when it does, my dear, will see, you will understand. And you will walk through it with your head held high, knowing that every door that closed was only making way for the blessing that was always meant to be yours. Oh, my dear ones, how heavy the waiting can be, how the days stretch long, how the nights whisper with questions that have no answers. You have prayed, you have prepared, you have pressed forward with all the strength in your soul, and yet nothing. The door remains shut. The answer does not come. The dream lingers just beyond your reach. And oh, how the silence stings. You wonder if you have been forgotten. You wonder if heaven has gone quiet, if your cries have been lost somewhere between here and the throne of grace. You look around and see others moving forward, stepping into blessings, walking through doors that seem to open with ease. And you, my dear, you are still waiting, still wondering, still holding on to a promise that seems too far away to ever be real. But listen to me now. There is no such thing as delay when you are in the hands of God. There is no such thing as being overlooked, no such thing as being forgotten. You see, what feels like delay to you is divine preparation. What seems like stillness is God working in ways you cannot yet see. Oh, my dear, if you could only pull back the curtain of time, if you could only see the masterpiece being painted behind the scenes, you would know your waiting is not wasted. You are not standing still. You are being strengthened. Your heart is being refined. Your spirit is being stretched. Your soul is being prepared for the weight of the blessing that is on its way. Because, oh my dear, not every blessing is light as a feather. Not every promise is easy to carry. Some blessings require strong hands, steady feet, a mind that has learned patience, and a heart that has learned trust. And so, God waits. He waits until you are ready. He waits until what is coming will not just be received, but cherished, not just given, but carried with wisdom. Oh, how many times have we run ahead of God, rushing to grab what was never meant for us, stepping into things we were not yet ready to hold? How many times have we forced open doors only to find that what lay beyond was not a blessing, but a burden? But God, in His wisdom, loves us too much to let us ruin what is meant to bless us. So He slows us down. He makes us wait. And though we may not understand, though we may not see it in the moment, He is not punishing us. He is protecting us. So what do you do in the waiting? You do not complain. You do not grow bitter. You do not let doubt whisper lies into your ear. No, my dear, you prepare. You sharpen your mind. You steady your heart. You strengthen your faith. You walk with your head held high, not as one who has been forgotten, but as one who knows that when the time is ripe, the heavens themselves will move. The door of what is will open, water will come out a moment too late. Not a second too soon, but at the perfect time. And then, oh, when it comes, my dear, when that day arrives and the waiting is over, you will understand. You will see that every moment of stillness was a step forward, that every delay was divine, that every unanswered prayer was simply waiting for its perfect time. And you will stand in the fullness of your blessing, not just grateful for what has come, but wiser, stronger, and ready to carry it. Ah, my dear ones, have you ever felt it? That stirring deep within your soul. that quiet, restless whisper that will not let you settle where you are. You wake up and something feels different. You move through your day, and though everything looks the same, something in you is shifting. The places that once felt like home now feel too small. The conversations that used to excite you now feel empty. The path you have walked for so long suddenly feels like it is no longer yours to walk. And you cannot explain it, but you know something is calling you forward. Oh, my dear, do not ignore that feeling. That restlessness is not something to be feared, not something to be silenced. That is the voice of God whispering to you, telling you it is time. It is time to grow. It is time to rise. It is time to leave behind the familiar and step into the unknown. And I know the unknown can be frightening. I know how comforting it is to stay where you have always been, to hold on to what is safe, to settle into what is familiar. But hear me now, God did not create you to stay small. He did not breathe His Spirit into you so that you could shrink yourself to fit into places that no longer serve you. You see, when God is getting ready to move you, He will not always send a loud announcement. He will not always send a sign in flashing lights. Sometimes He will simply place a stirring in your spirit, an unease with where you are, a hunger for more. And if you are wise, you will listen. You will pay attention. You will understand that the discomfort you feel is not punishment, it is preparation. It is the stretching of your soul, the making of room for what is to come. Oh, but how often we ignore it. How often we try to push it down, to quiet it, to tell ourselves that we should just be grateful for what we have, that we should not ask for more, that we should not dare to dream beyond where we are. But my dear, what if the very thing you call restlessness is really your spirit waking up? What if it is God shaking you loose from a place you were never meant to stay? When God calls you higher, He will make it uncomfortable to stay where you are. He will not allow you to settle in a place that no longer serves your destiny. And, oh my dear, if you try to stay, if you try to ignore the stirring, you will find that the very thing that once made you feel safe will start to feel like a prison. You will feel trapped in rooms that used to feel like home. You will feel out of place in circles you once fit into so easily. And it is not because you are lost, it is because you are growing. So do not fight it. Do not resist the stirring in your soul. Lean into it. Ask God what He is preparing you for. Open your heart to what is coming next. And when the time comes to move, to step out, to rise, do not let fear keep you standing still. Do not let the comfort of the familiar make you miss the beauty of the unknown. Trust that if God is calling you forward, He has already prepared the way. Trust that He would not awaken something in you if He did not intend to fulfill it. And oh, my dear, when you finally step into what is waiting for you, when you finally say yes to the call, you will see you were never meant to stay where you were. You were always meant to rise. Oh, my dear ones, do not think for a moment that trials come to destroy you. Do not believe that hardship is a sign that you have been forgotten. No, my dear, when God is shaping you, when He is refining you, He will send you through the fire not to burn you, but to purify you. He will place you in the storm not to drown you, but to teach you how to stand. He will allow the weight of trials to rest upon your shoulders, not to break you, but to make you unbreakable. There will come a time when life will test you, when the winds will rise and the road ahead will disappear into the fog of uncertainty. You will wonder why the battle is so fierce, why the struggle seems relentless, why every step forward comes with resistance. But my dear, do not fear the challenge. Do not curse the trial. Do not turn away from the fire. Because in that fire you are being transformed. In that fire, and you are being strengthened. The oak tree does not grow tall and mighty without enduring the winds. The diamond does not shine without first being pressed. The gold is not pure until it has been refined by the heat. And so it is with you. Every struggle, every challenge, every battle is shaping you into something stronger, something wiser, something greater than you have ever been before. Oh, but I know how it feels when you are in the middle of it. I know how the weight of trouble can press heavy upon your heart. You wonder how much longer you can hold on. You wonder if you will ever make it through. But listen to me now, you have already come farther than you think. You have already survived things that once seemed impossible. You have already endured storms that should have washed you away. And yet here you stand. Here you rise. So do not let this challenge make you forget who you are. Do not let this trial make you forget who your God is. He did not bring you this far to leave you. He did not place his hands upon you just to abandon you in the fire. No, my dear, he is right there with you. He is strengthening you with every step. He is molding you with every tear. And when this season has passed, when the fire has done its work, you will emerge not broken, but whole, not weak, but powerful, not defeated, but victorious. And oh, my dear, when you look back on this time, when you see all that you have overcome, you will understand. You will know that every trial was not sent to destroy you, but to reveal you. And you will stand shining with the light of all that you have endured, unshakable, unstoppable, a testament to the power of a soul that refused to be broken. Oh, my dear ones, have you ever felt it? That gentle nudge, that quiet whisper, that undeniable knowing deep within your soul. Have you ever stood in a moment so perfect, so divinely aligned, that you could not help but feel the presence of something greater than yourself? There are no accidents, my dear. There are no coincidences. When God is moving your life, he will send signs, not always in thunder and lightning, not always in mighty waves and shaking ground, but in soft, sacred whispers that only the attentive heart can hear. You see, when God speaks, he does not always raise his voice, but he makes himself known. He will send you messages woven into the rhythm of your days, confirmations wrapped in the words of a stranger, reminders tucked into the pages of a book, moments that strike you with such clarity that you have no choice but to listen. And yet, so often we ignore them. We brush them aside. We call them mere coincidence, chance, luck. But my dear, when your spirit stirs, when your heart leaps at a word spoken at just the right time, when you keep seeing the same message over and over again, do not dismiss it. Do not silence that voice within you. That is God speaking. That is God guiding. Oh, but how often we doubt. We ask for signs, and then when they come, we ask for them again. We beg for clarity, and then when it is given, we question if it was real. But my dear, God is not a God of confusion. When he speaks with purpose. When he moves with intention. If he has sent you a word, trust it. If he has confirmed it again and again, believe it. If he has placed a calling on your life, do not wait for a louder voice, a brighter sign, a clearer map. The sign has already been given. The path has already been set. You may hear it in the stillness of your soul, that deep knowing that refuses to leave you alone. You may see it in the way certain doors open and others slam shut, in the way circumstances align, in the way you just happen to be at the right place at the right time. And you may feel it in the way your heart burns when you think about a thing you were meant to do, in the way your spirit comes alive when you step into what God has called you to. That is no accident, my dear. That is confirmation. That is God's way of saying, yes, my child, this is for you. Oh, but I know the hesitation. I know the fear. You want to be sure. You want to be certain. But faith does not always come with certainty. Faith does not wait for every question to be answered. Faith listens. Faith moves. Faith walks forward even when it does not know what lies ahead. And my dear, if God has spoken, if he has confirmed it, if he has sent you sign after sign, do not keep waiting for permission to believe. Walk in it. Stand in it. Trust in it. And when you finally do, when you finally step forward, when you finally listen without doubt, you will see you were never alone. You were never lost. You were always being led. And every sign, every whisper, every divine confirmation was simply guiding you exactly where you were meant to be.